Hey friends, you've asked, we answered. My name is Malvina and today I will show you how to create this beautiful home baker recipe binder from scratch. We will need, of course, the Home Baker collection by Prima Marketing, and the rest of materials you will find in the description box down below. We start with the grey board. We need 5 pieces. Their dimensions you can see on the screen, but they are also listed in the description as well. Mine is around 3 mm thick. We also need some paper-backed bookbinding material. You can find a variety of these on Amazon. Just make sure it's paper-backed, as it will make working with glue much easier and the final project will be sturdier. Now we need to glue the grey board in the right order. Make sure you do it properly. You can mark your pieces by writing their order on them. We will cover the whole grey board anyway, so it won't be visible. The order is in the description as well. Also, make sure you leave a little bit of space between the pieces. 1/8 of an inch is enough. To glue the boards to my bookbinding fabric, I use bookbinding glue, but if you don't have it, that's completely fine. You can use your regular crafting glue, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you leave enough margins around the grey board pieces to fold the bookbinding material. Now we will wrap our boards with the fabric. To get nice corners, I cut them diagonally, leaving a bit of margin from the board. Just a tiny bit, as you can see. I start with the shorter side and apply some glue on it. Again, your choice of glue doesn't matter, I'm using the bookbinding glue. Make sure you cover the sides of the board evenly and then fold the material and make sure you don't leave any bubbles. You can use a ruler or a bone folder to help with that. Now about that tiny fragment at the ends. I want to kind of push it to my left. This way it will fold nicely, it will look like a notebook corner and won't leave an ugly pointy corner. Now you can see a close-up of what I'm doing. I kind of push it with my bone folder to the left. And we repeat the exact same steps for all the sides of our bookbinding material. When working with the longer side of your bookbinding material, make sure to go with your either ruler or a bone folder in between the grey boards to achieve this look. It will also help your binder to fold nicely and evenly. Now that the outside of our binder is ready, we move on into inside. And now we will need 4 pieces of the same material and we will place them in places where our binder will fold. Again, all the measurements are in the description box down below. Use whatever glue you have on hand and place your fabric where you see the gaps. Then run your ruler or bone folder through it while the glue is still wet, but be careful not to break the material. It's better to work on this part a bit longer, but gentle. Now this step is optional, but because I wanted to have a sort of a more dimension in my project, I used craft paper as a base. Now I cut 6 pieces, 5 for the inside of my binder and 1 for the cover. If you don't want to use craft paper in your project, make sure you cut pieces of these dimensions with your scrapbooking paper. Now I just noticed that a few seconds of this tutorial didn't record. I must have forgotten to start recording, I'm sorry for that, so hear me out. With this binder I went for the easier and, in my opinion, a nicer way of closing the binder, and I used some magnets. You can also find them on Amazon. I placed 2 of them on the 5th piece of my binder and attached them with some Scotch tape. Now we need to place the extra magnets on the cover, but how to do that evenly? You can of course measure where the magnets are on the first part and mark it on the cover. However, I went for the fastest approach, put a drop of paint on each magnet, closed the binder, and it marked the right places for me. Now I just need to place the extra magnets in these places. Again, I'm using Scotch tape to do that, and make sure you check which side up your magnet should be and be careful not to break it. Moving on to decorating, I cut scrapbooking papers so that they are 1/8 of an inch smaller than my craft papers, which will create a pretty craft frame, let's say, around it, making it look a bit more polished. Now moving on to the fun part, binder mechanism. You can also find them on Amazon. Mine is by Craftelier and measures about 5 inches wide. It comes with some screws to attach it to the binder, so I marked the spots where these will go with a pencil. Then I made some holes using a piercing awl. If you own the big crocodile, it will certainly make your job easier right now. Now, here's the thing I didn't show in our previous reel, showcasing the first version of that binder. My Grayboard is a bit too thin for that binder mechanism, and the screws would be a bit loose on the back, which is why I've made an extra stripe of the Grayboard, wrapped it in the same bookbinding material, and placed below the binder to add extra layer that will hold my screws in place. And that pretty much wraps up the technical part of making the binder. Now all that's left is decorating the inside, and I'm pretty sure that creative souls like you will absolutely thrive here, so there's no need for extra commentary. My only tip as you decorate, close the binder from time to time to make sure your flowers or other embellishments don't get in the way of the binder mechanism or the recipe cards, which by the way are of course the 4x6 inches the home baker journaling cards. I truly hope you will enjoy working on your own binder as much as I did. It's so easy with this collection. I absolutely love its warm tones, not to mention that all these adorable sentiments and graphics make me instantly hungry. I can't wait to see what you will create, so make sure you share your creation with us. Tag us on Facebook, on Instagram, share your work in our Facebook group. We love to see your work. Thank you so much for today, and hopefully see you in the next tutorial. Bye!